Hello everybody, my name is Austin Randolph, and today we're doing kind of like a 1 month review follow-up-y thing on the Fender Mike McCready signature Stratocaster. And just to get the two things out of the way, if you like what I do, if you like what I say, feel free to subscribe to the channel. It helps me out immensely. And then if you are on the social media apps that require less attention, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram. Same username as here, but let's kind of talk about a controversial guitar. So why is this guitar controversial? It's a Stratocaster. For God's sake, what is so controversial about it? Well, it's $1,900 and it's made in Mexico. So that's why it's controversial. And kind of the gist of today's video is me looking at the question of, is it worth that? Was it worth it? And there's really just a couple bullet points that I wanted to go through. Starting at the top, it's funny. So in the name of authenticity, the story goes that Mr. McCready, the Pearl Jam guitar player, put his 60 Strat through his Marshall stack once in a bout of passion or something. So they put the chip on this. If you want me to be honest, so the Relic job on this is actually pretty good. It gets a little orangey on the back, but there's plenty of real wood poking through. The Relic job is pretty good. The finish is legit nitro finish, smells like a legit nitro finish. It's super thin, which is exactly what I wanted. But back to the top. I get that it's made to look like a chip in the finish that's had just like years of dust and shit in there. I think it's a little dark for me, but maybe that's just a nitpicky thing. But, so the things I've noticed over time. The nut's good, nothing to write home about. I was a little concerned, if you want me to be honest with you, about the neck. So on Sweetwater's website, which, by the way, see the link below for the Sweetwater link to purchase, my link to purchase, it helps me out. So I was a little concerned with the neck, which was a slim C profile, which, at least in my eyes, that's kind of vague. So I'll do my best to elaborate on that a little bit. I was concerned because I really don't dig a slim neck most of the time. I spend a lot of time at the gym. My hands are like rocks, right? So I don't have dainty hands. And a really slim neck just feels uncomfortable for me. It feels like I'm trying to manipulate a twig, and I don't like it. But this is not really, it's not super slim. I would say the fretboard is narrow. I mean, if you're used to playing kind of vintage spec Strats, that's what it feels like. But the neck, I'm going to try to lower my voice as I get to the mic. The neck has a really, really even carve to it, and it fills out your hand pretty well. There's still a substantial amount of girth everywhere you go on the neck. So I was shocked how much I actually liked the neck profile. It's super, super comfy. It's not too slim. It's not too modern. It's definitely not like a spec'd to a 1960 Strat neck, but it's a really, really good interpretation of it, I think. There's enough girth and body in there to where it really reminds me of the neck. And I said this in my initial review on my player Strat, which is a really, really good medium C, medium thickness. Everything's medium and well-rounded about it. So I really do like the neck. The other thing where the description was kind of vague and I wasn't sure how I'd feel about it, the pickups. So the pickups, the more I read into them, it's actually kind of hard to dig up information on them. What I was getting is the closest thing to them, because their pickups made for this guitar, is Fender's Vintage 61. And really the emphasis in the description, I think, tells a lot about them, where the emphasis is on the kind of quack and sparkle that you associate with like a vintage Strat. And I think they did a really, really good job on the pickups. They're really well rounded, and when you want that Stratty quack, it's right there for you. When you want to access and tap into gain and have it sound really kind of gnarly Stratty, it's right there. So I really think for being a set of pickups meant to act like and sound like a vintage set of pickups, they did a really good job. And I mean, the wiring feels fine. The switch feels like a high quality switch. Everything about them feels and works great. And I think they did a really good job with, kind of tipping the hat to pickups from the early 60s. A plus, at least in my book, is that this guitar comes with 5 springs on the trem, so pretty much the bridge is just locked down from the factory. That's just less work for me. I do that to all my Strats anyways. I really don't treat them like a floating trem. It's not worth it for me. I don't use it enough to sacrifice the tuning stability, so I always just lock the bridge down. So it was a nice little perk to come from the factory like that. My big issue, and legitimately, so the only thing keeping me from going yes, I know it's made in Mexico, but it's 100% worth it, is if you watched my initial review about this guitar, when I got this, the frets weren't polished at all. I mean, they were rough, dude. So I had to spend 20 minutes going through and with a piece of steel wool and getting them nice and smooth. So is that the end of the world? No. However, somebody made a comment on my first review that was actually a really good point, and I didn't think about it. Because I guarantee you, if you used my Sweetwater link to buy this guitar, you would not have that issue. They have a whole system in place to quality inspect their instruments before they go out. That would not have gone through the Sweetwater quality inspection. I guarantee you that. I ended up picking up this guitar from a local shop. I had a whole bunch of stuff laying around to trade in that reverb's been an absolute nightmare lately, so I ended up doing that instead and just putting a bunch of old stuff toward this. So I didn't get this from Sweetwater, but I gotta be completely honest with you, I wish I would have. In my eyes, for $1,900, so for less than $2,000, you're getting a Nitro Relic Stratocaster made by Fender in a Fender factory. I looked it up. It's a 3-hour drive south of the California factory. Does that matter to me? Not really. That's just a personal thing. I'm looking at what this is on paper, and you get a cool brown hardshell case with it. You get, the phony baloney signature on the back of the headstock. I'm just glad they hid it, because I think it's weird when it's super clearly displayed, oh, it's somebody else's guitar. I don't know why it bugs me. Is it worth it to me? Yeah. What I know is that whenever I have a spare 2 hours at the end of the night and I, pop my phone on my tripod just to play on TikTok Live for a little bit, I've been reaching for this guitar more than all of my others. I love the neck. I love the pickups. The finish feels and smells great. I think it looks super, super cool. It's super beaten up. If that's not your thing, this guitar's not for you. But for less than $2,000, I have what, for me, is a super cool, really relict Strat that has a nitro. It has a great neck I like, and it sounds killer. So, it sounds crazy to say, but is that just what a guitar made on this side of the world costs nowadays? I think the answer is kind of yeah, to be honest with you. I think this guitar has been a big success for Fender, and I think it's going to continue to sell really well, at least until they release a John Frusciante one. But, hey, potato, right? My point I'm getting at, if you like a Relic Strat, and if you like a vintage-y Fender, if you dig that vibe, you're going to really dig this guitar. You can argue about whether it's worth it and blah, 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 but nobody's going to... the question is never dude, that guitar looks so cool, how much was it? It's, you know what I mean? So it's... Where you place value with your money is completely up to you, but for me who grew up listening to Pearl Jam and looking at John Frusciante and all these dudes with super heavy Relic Strat like, you know, Sunburst Strats, it's worth it for me. The cool factor's there. It plays great, sounds great. So it's worth it for me. I want to hear what you guys think. If you think I'm out of my marbles and I'm just trying to justify this purchase because I bought it and paid the money, let me know down below. If you have one, if you love it, let me know down below. Like I said, I'm going to have a link below to purchase from Sweetwater. And follow me, like, comment, share, do all the stuff. And that's all I got, guys. I really like this guitar. Was it expensive when I bought it? Sure, it was expensive. Do I regret it? Not even a little bit. I play this all the time. So for me, it was worth it. But what do you guys think? I don't know. Take care, everybody.